Welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. So I'm going to continue to talk today a little bit about some current global events that are affecting us and will affect us long term that were predicted in the channelings, and one of which is connected directly to the financial and global recalibration that's happening right now, i.e. all these banks that are failing that are being brought out. I just saw in the news today that Credit Suisse, which is a huge international company, has been bought by UBS, which is also a Swiss bank, and into the trillions. I forgot how many trillion, but it is a lot of money. Okay. And experts are saying it is still a bailout because the confidence in Credit Suisse got shaken. We know what happened in the US with the three banks, Silvergate, that went completely bankrupt. Investors apparently lose a lot of money in there because there was no bailout, meaning no FDIC, except for DFC insurance. The people who had higher deposit in there, I don't think they got their money. It's kind of like in the hush hush. Whereas for Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, there has been insurance that everybody, all the depositors, were to get their money. So, and of course, all the other banks, and somebody had posted an article recently that there are over worldwide over 160 banks that are in the same predicament. And this is all leading to a lack of confidence in the way we transact and exchange with each other. And there is going to be a redistribution of money and funds that is to happen imminently. And I mean by that, I think this is a dress rehearsal. This is the beginning, the first few dominoes. I think there's going to be a series of events that are going to continue for the rest of the year. And the real restructuring and crisis will happen in 2024. So be wise and try to plan your finances and your long-term strategy in the best way possible between now and 2024 and 2025, which is when all of the restructuring will take place. The channeling said so, and the astrological configuration is saying the exact same thing as well. So, and I want to couple this and connect this back to the opposite frequency, because if this is talking about lack, because the first thing people fear, how am I going to get their money? Panic is setting in, the way people reacted when they realized that. And by the way, the whole thing was triggered by a venture capitalist who was dealing with Silicon Valley Bank and who lost confidence in them and tweeted out, or rather not directly, but reached out to all of the enterprise, because that Silicon Valley Bank was dealing with a lot of venture capitalist money and venture, and also tech companies, etc. He reached out to all of the people he funded and told them to remove all your money out of Silicon Valley. And they all did, in the terms of millions and millions of dollars. And they themselves spread to internet, to whatever, spread the news out to mass media, and it generated a panic. And it's revealing the underlying weakness in the way we are exchanging. Now, coupled with this is the fact that the Federal Reserve were increasing, or about to increase, or they were in the process of increasing interest rate again to so-called combat inflation. And if they do this, it's going to really hurt recovery from this. So I'm not a financial advisor. I don't intend to try to advise you on what to do. I just want to talk about this idea of lack and abundant living and the difference between the two. The way people panicked throughout all of this. I saw, I happened to have an account in Signature Bank, and the banker I was dealing with was telling me, go right now and remove money, go to ATM, get your money out, go do this, blah, 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 go, like in panic. This is during class last Sunday, and I remember saying to her when this was going on, I'm in class. I'm not gonna cut what I'm doing. And plus, I was at rest. I was at peace. I felt inwardly that I am not losing anything. I knew in my heart there is no reason for me to panic. Nothing is gonna happen. I'm not gonna lose anything. And I was completely at rest. And of course, I didn't react. And then the next thing you know, the Fed had stepped in to support the bank and created took over the bank on last Sunday. And the next thing you know, and everything was okay. I didn't have to worry about. I was right. My instincts were right, but I know a lot of people who did not react this way. They were in panic. They were in line at the bank. They were trying to remove their money. They were getting turned around. There were a lot of people who were really upset. And if you're in that category, it reveals a weakness in your spiritual psychology that connects to how you identify with the money that you have in the bank. And whether you believe that that prosperity or that abundance comes from the actual greenback that you think you have in the coffers that you cannot access, or is it coming from somewhere else that's more abstract and greater? And the way to interpret and to understand an abstraction is to say that there is a cornucopia of abundant flow, because it's not just about money. Yes, in the Indian tradition, it's interpreted as being Lakshmi, and Lakshmi is the goddess of abundance, but people interpret it as her giving you gold, diamond, rubies, and sapphires. She does do that as well, but it's not, it's only one aspect. There are 9 other aspects of her. That includes knowledge, wisdom, love, health. She gives you abundance of all things. She is the personification of abundant flow. So where is your abundance coming from? Is it coming from the fact that you're hoarding, or you're storing, you're saving in a bank account, or you have a fat bank account, or is it coming from a place where you know that you're supported and that you will never be at a loss for money? Or for that matter, health, for that matter, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, all of these things, moreover, are your birthright. It is not something that's being given to you because you're privileged. It's not something that's given only to royal family and people who happen to have been born in the right family and race. It is as of right that you as a human being, because in the greater scheme, when you connect to infinity times infinity, that cornucopia, it is an endless and abundant flow of all kinds of solution set, of repairs, of healing. It's perpetually spraying, the way Dr. Stone used to call it, my teacher, a rain of blessings, an endless rain of blessings. And God giveth and God taketh away. So if you are stuck in the concept of thinking that you're receiving or your privilege, and you're lucky to have all of this and all that, and you're bragging about your privilege. There's a lot of rappers, people who on mass media who are constantly talking about their privilege and how wonderful their life is by showing pictures of their abundance. Therefore, and by the way, a lot of that is fake. A lot of that is fake abundance. It's not true. These people go on Airbnb and they go to an expensive place for 2 nights and they take all these pictures and videos and they're claiming that these properties are theirs and it's their home and it's their summer home in this, that, or the other. They're in Dubai, they're in this hotel, and it's all cultivated, or they go in front of an expensive house in the Hollywood Hills that has a lot of Rolls Royce and all that, and they walk around in front of this garage and they say, look at all my cars. And there's a lot of that, a lot of deceit that's going around for people who are posting stuff and then they're asking you to follow them because they are wealthy and they can advise you and show you how to do the same. There's a lot of lies, okay? And what I'm saying is that we should be focusing, particularly now, given the fact that it's a Saturn move. Saturn is moving to Aquarius. And as Saturn moves through it, it's going to rattle and shake things. Because Saturn is transform and create change. And if the change is not happening by grace, it will happen by karma. And then when it happens by karma, it's the fundamental structures that will shake. And in this instance, humanity would not voluntarily, particularly the international financial and banking system, would not voluntarily redistribute wealth in an equitable fashion. Wealthy countries will want to remain wealthy. The poor countries are struggling, etc. For that to happen, there has to be a completely an event deus ex machina. Something from the God of the machine, something from above has to happen. Okay, so that the structure can be recalibrated. Because we are moving in the age of Aquarius, the age of equality and brotherly love. And if that inequitable, unbalanced frequency and vibration remain in our exchange system, we will never get there. So it has to be restructured. But when a global purge like this is happening, we have to be very careful that our own things that we have are not being sideswiped by the change that's taking place. I'm not saying this to scare you, but to get you to think and to get you to prepare. Because I'll be very honest with you, if you, and this is the reason why WISAC is on May 7th. This year, I want you to save that date, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm finalizing the details and I will send you, hopefully by the end of this week coming, like the next weekend, I can send you an email with all of the particulars. But what I can say to you is that event, the WISAC theme this year, is aligning to the flow of abundant living. It's the opposite frequency to the recalibration that we're going through. And that frequency is to connect to the source of the cornucopia, the source of abundance, the source of flow. Not, thinking that it's connected, to the panic that got generated. Every little news about a bank this, a bank that, and running in panic. And what do I do? Do I move my money there? But because, if you're a certain age and you have some resources and you have some finances, particularly when you're fixed income, you're afraid that if it starts dry, you're going to be out on, and you're not at a working age anymore. You won't be able to generate new income. But that's a fear that's connected to thinking that what controls that flow is just the money that you have stored in a 401k or in an investment. What really controls that flow is your connection, your certainty and connection to that abundant flow. How connected are you, and how much do you believe that by right, intrinsically, you deserve to be in abundance and flow, and you cannot at any moment suffer any lack. because you were not created for this. Listen carefully to the words I'm saying. You were not created to have the lack, and therefore you will exist perpetually in this abundant flow. And the moment you're in that state, you will know exactly what to do. Though I walk through the valley of shadow and death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. If you are in that state of awareness that you know that you cannot and you will not be touched, nothing will happen to you. Now, it's not an easy thing to do when for years and years and years we've been domesticated to believe that we are in lack. We've been domesticated over and over again that we are, we have to work hard to do this. I'm going to give you a simple example to explain to you how easy it is even for me for this to happen. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was trying to explain to them what was happening with my small account, my account in Signature Bank. Not small, my account. Again, I'm using the wrong word. This is my lack showing up, my account. And I was saying that it's FDIC insured. I don't have to worry about it, blah, blah, blah. It's the people that have the over 250,000, etc. And I said, I only have a few thousand in there. And then he said to me, stop. I said, what? This was Georgie, stop. I'm like, what? He said to me, what do you mean you only have? You're talking from lack. You have in that account, you have in it an endless amount of money. Not that only thing comes from lack. And he's right. He's absolutely right. So what kind of conversation are we having with ourselves? By saying, I have a small account here. I have a little bit of money in there. This is only so much money. The moment you say this, you're seeing yourself outside of that flow. What kind of conversation? Because when you're saying it to yourself and you repeat it over and over again, it becomes a subconscious law. And you're disconnecting yourself further and further from where you should be, which is to know that you're deserving of having endless flow and prosperity and health and happiness and joy and be celebrated, and knowledge and wisdom and all of the above, because you're connected to the cornucopia of abundant living. It's a constant monitoring, self-assessing, and listening to self for those self-sabotaging patterns of speaking to self, talking to yourself in your head. And it's not just the word that you say. Sometimes it's the inner conversation in your head that are the most cruel and the most limiting. What kind of limiting thought, limiting thinking, and limiting belief are you holding that's keeping you disconnected to that flow? What are you inside of yourself saying to yourself when you're thinking about your financial future? When you're thinking about, and again, it's not just financial future, but for example, your health. When you're thinking about your happiness, when you're thinking about the knowledge and the wisdom or your ascension. Because guess what? Lakshmi also connects you to the energy of ascension, because she is abundant flow and she can restore everything. Because when she heals, when she gives you health and she heals on a level, even on a deep, profound spiritual level. Now, Lakshmi is very specific and very particular. And I was mentioning this in the morning class, and I want to talk about this now because I want you to understand what I'm talking about. When you invite her to your home, you have to prepare for her to come in. If you can, buy some yellow or orange flowers, yellow or orange candle, and it has to be on Friday. That's her day. Moreover, she needs the prosperity corner of your bagua, which is typically the kind of northeast part of your home. or the best way to describe this is that when you enter your home and you face the door, wherever in your home, in your apartment, it's typically the northeast corner. And in that corner, you have to make sure that there are nothing on the floor, because she comes in barefooted. And if she comes in and she feels nail clipping, dirt, things that are underneath her feet, she will turn around and she will not come back for another 3 months. Okay? Now, Georgie, who had told me this years ago, and I thought I was being smart because my computer, my camera, everything I'm doing is in the northeast, in that corner, in that prosperity corner. And I used to clip my nail in that area. Now I still clip my nail there, but what I do is I have a garbage bag underneath the table, and I put all the nail clipping inside the garbage bag in there. And once a week, twice a month, I would take the garbage bag and throw it out. And as I was talking to him one time, I realized the grave error that I was making. She's still not gonna come. You only clip your nail in the bathroom, nowhere else. And then when you're done, you immediately vacuum and swipe all of this and throw it in the trash. Take it outside and take it out. Because she will not come in. And you have another 3 months before she arrives again. And that was huge for me when I realized the mistake I was making. About several months back, I was realizing I'm not doing this again. That was a huge mistake. Okay? So that's, if you believe in this as a representation of or personification of abundance and flow. And I've had experiences where I felt her sitting next to me. So I know for me, there's a connection, there's an implicit connection in there. Maybe from a past life when I was a monk in India, a teacher in India, I can feel I'm connected to her or to the Indian pantheon in a very strong way. I have dreams about things, for example, Shiva and all that, when I'm recounting the dreams to people who are aware of this, that sounds like so and so and so, and I don't even know them. I don't even know the deity, but I have past lives that are related to this. And so they come to me in a very strong way. So what I'm trying to say to you here is that there is a physical preparation of your space, your altar, and how you feng shui your space to allow for that to happen. But there is equally an important part of it, which is how the silent conversation you're having with yourself, and also the conversation that you're having with the kind of conversation that you're having out loud when you're talking to people about your flow and your abundance. If every time you talk about your health and you keep saying, and I've heard people say this, in my health condition, I have so and so and so, and then they begin to tell you all the things that are wrong with them. They talk about their pain and their suffering, and they begin to tell you their diagnosis, and they have this, that, or the other. If you claim that you have it and you're holding and you're repeating it all the time, you will never find the healing for it. You will maintain the condition and keep it there all the time. You have to come to a point of realizing whatever it is that's so-called the condition that you're having with your health, that condition is completely temporary. No matter what other doctor says or anybody else, because you are an immortal being, because the source of immortality, the source of perpetual renewal is also Lakshmi. It's the same cornucopia of abundant flow. It's the source of it all. This is where all the gifts that exist in this universe come from. I had said this to you before, several weeks ago. All the money that Warren Buffett, and Steve Bezos, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk, and all the royal families in Saudi Arabia have, all the goals,
and for that matter, all the financial and abundant benevolent flow that exists in the entire multiverse does not belong to anyone but to the cornucopia. And you and I are plugged in directly into it. We're not separated from it. We're plugged in. What's separating us? The conversation that we're having. How we got domesticated into belief that we were disconnected. This is what the people who have, I've met one or two people who seem to have had the Midas touch. Everything that they do, and they talk differently. I'm doing X, Y, Z. Do you have the money? No, but the money's not a problem. The money will come. Money is easy. It's not a problem. I met somebody that was talking this way all the time, and everything that he did was magic. The money always came. Money is not a problem. The money is easy. I'm doing X, Y, Z, and then there was a project, and you're like, where is he going to get the? Somehow the money always arrived. You have to exist in a different mentality. And the same is true with your health, with your happiness, with your joy. What kind of connection do you have? What kind of, if you're disconnected in such a deep way, in such a profound way to everything else that's going on, how do you expect to find happiness when you're existing in lack? How do you expect to find health when you see yourself as being sick? How do we expect to find joy when you see yourself as being unhappy? And the conversation you're having all the time is that I am unhappy. If your thing is that you want to belong and you want to feel that you belong to something and you're seeing yourself outside all the time, how can you belong when when in your head and in your mind and your consciousness you see yourself disconnected and outside? And if you see yourself disconnected to any of these things, you're not being grateful for what's being given to you right now. I can guarantee you that. Because at the very moment, even though you may think you don't have money, you have money in the bank. Your clothes, you're eating, you're relatively healthy. You have had a lot of victories, a lot of things that you should be grateful for. But instead of focusing on being grateful and realize you're connected to flow and the flow is taking care of you, you're seeing always, nothing is ever enough because I'm disconnected. Nothing is ever enough. Any questions, any comments that you may have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, by any chance, how she comes in? Does she come in through front door, or she will be just in the corner?
I don't know if she comes. I was doing a meditation. She was not even in the corner. I was sitting somewhere else in the apartment, and the next thing I knew, I felt somebody next to me. I felt, I shared that with you before. I didn't know it was her. It's later on that I realized it was her. I was sitting down, and I went to the white space, and I was completely at peace, and I was listening to everything that was happening to me. And the next thing you know, I begin to feel or hear like a pitch. It's a background pitch because I was in such a deep state. And then the pitch suddenly changed. It's like this in the background. And it changed suddenly, and I begin to hear from this ear, from my left ear, I begin to hear a voice trying to whisper something to me. And very quickly, I begin to feel a body sitting next to me. I felt this thigh against my thigh. And when I slightly, with my eyes closed, tilted my head, I could see an Indian woman with braided hair turning her head toward me, trying to whisper something in my ear, like leaning in to try to tell me something.
I'm sorry, I got actually disconnected for a moment. But you're referring to you spoke about it earlier. You described it when the
Yes.
phone rang.
Yes.
Okay. So you think that was that experience?
Oh yeah, it was her.
Oh, okay.
It was
No,
her.
okay. I'm just asking.
I don't know whether but the direction is it's northeast,
Mhm.
generally speaking, not
Okay.
east directly, but northeast.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Northeast corner. That's where
Mhm.
you put your candle. That's where you put your incense. That's where you put your offering. If you're offering flowers, you don't have to have the flowers, but if you have flowers, you could put fresh flowers there. That's where, particularly if you're welcoming her back for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you bring the flower offering, you put it there,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
you pray to her and you ask her to come in. Make sure the floor is thoroughly clean, everything is clean, and you create a connection to her. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any questions? Any comments? I wanted to, talk about this because I want you to be prepared, because there are more other turbulent news that are afoot. And the kind of inner conversation that we're having, particularly when we are focusing with ourselves. Okay, so we have been doing the morphogenic listening and shifting gear, but still connected to the same thing. We're doing the morphogenic listening and we're going in all the time having conversation internally with ourselves. So when we discovered things in there, particularly feeling and sensation, that we cannot even begin to understand our process because they seem to be so big, okay? It might be a discomfort of some kind. And sometimes the discomfort is so powerful that it feels like a bubble of reactivity. I know what happened to me last week when I felt the solar flare. It was literally, I was even shaking, as I told you when I described it a little bit earlier. And of course, when there is a solar flare that's activating it, it's because the solar flare is the demolition crew. It's causing electrical short circuit to unroot the cellular memory of whatever is no longer serving you. And it's trying to pull it out. It's not a comfortable feeling. If you can, as I said, hang low, don't do too much, drink lots of water, and if you can, if it's possible, you can, take a nap. Even if it's a half hour, it will serve you a lot. And surrender. Don't fight it. When you realize it's solar flare, don't fight it. Say, I'm surrendering into you. Please remove from me what's no longer necessary. I welcome your help. Please extract from me what doesn't serve me. This is what I did. I surrendered to it. I had the conversation with the sun, and whatever it's supposed to do, just do it efficiently. Just take it out of me. I'm not resisting. Because what I was doing before, I was trying to restore everything back. I'm fighting it. I was like, no, I don't want to feel this way. I want to bring myself back to happy. I want to bring myself back to where I didn't understand that the temporary discomfort is part of the healing. And I should lean into the discomfort and allow it to happen. The same thing can be said and true even when there are no solar flares. There are sometimes we go into feelings and emotion, and particularly when we're empath, and the feelings and the emotions are so potent and so powerful. By the way, what I forgot to mention, the day of the solar flare as well, there were other things that were going on around town. That same day, there were 3 mass shootings in New York City, one in Harlem, one in Queens, and one somewhere else. That happened in less than 12 hours. And that morning, very early that morning, I don't know what time it was, before dawn, there was a shooting up in East 139th Street in Holland. So part of it also could have been that I'm picking up, because we're all empath and we're sensing all of these things. I'm picking up this kind of panic, this kind of like lawlessness. Okay. So wherever you're situated, there are times you may be picking up things that are not yours. So the first thing for you to do when you're beginning to feel the discomfort, particularly when you're doing a Dantian and you're beginning to feel these big things that are showing up, okay? And you cannot correctly identify. You keep querying, you keep doing whatever you can, and you cannot identify what it is. Ask clearly, is this coming from me or is it coming from the outside? Is this a solar flare? And since energy doesn't lie, you will know exactly what's going on. And whatever feeling that you identify, and it may be at that moment, the feeling is still too big, I'll tell you what to do. If the feeling is still big, ask if it's more than one feeling. What's the first feeling? The second, or are there any other? So that you can separate the feelings. And then try, once you have all the feelings separated, because you have, the whole point of your body giving you the discomfort is to try to teach you. It's for self-assessment. It's to try to teach you to become more self-aware and to resolve the imbalance and the and restore equilibrium in your psyche. It's not doing it to punish you, it's doing it to teach you. So when you're sitting with the discomfort, many empaths, and I see this on mass media, on all kinds of platforms, a lot of empaths think that I'm feeling this, I must share my feeling with the world. I'm feeling XYZ, blah, 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 etc. And they broadcast it and they amplify it and they embody the fact that, for example, they're angry, they're feeling enraged. If one of the feelings that will combine is anger, or I'm feeling victimized, I have suffered so many times, blah, blah, blah. I'm feeling lonely and I'm so alone right now. I feel like I'm disconnected. I wish this, that, and the other. And they begin to, they basically are marinating. They're putting soy sauce and condiment on the issue that they're having. Instead of seeing it as a temporary drive-through, they see it as a permanent parking spot. And they sit in it and they can remain in it for days and months and even years at a time. What I'm saying is that whatever you're feeling internally and whatever comes, you need to understand that this is nothing more than a drive-through. It's a temporary place that you're in. And what was it that President Eisenhower was saying, that when you're walking through hell, walk quickly? You need to move quickly through the territory. You don't need to remain there. It's not your permanent residence. So however you find yourself in this internal landscape and emotional landscape, and you're feeling X, Y, Z and sensation, and it's unclear what the sensation is it coming from the inside or the outside? Is it a solar flare? If it's still outside stuff, is it, so am I picking it up from the general ether of the planet or the city? Is it a solar flare? And if you can, because each one of them have different ways of dealing with it. Because if it's coming from the general ether of the planet or the city, you can say, I don't need to feel this. Take it away from me. Take this cup away from me. I don't need to empath this and to amplify it. I'm picking up too much. I need to let this go. I release all attachment, fear, and control that I have with this, and I'm surrendering to the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I release it and repeat this over again, and release it. Let it go. You don't need to hold on to it. If on the other hand, it's a feeling that's internal to you, it's something that you're processing. Let's say you're grieving
and you're having issue with some of the various stages of grief and you're processing, then maybe you should internalize and try to find out exactly, okay, what is the need right now with what I'm feeling right now? What is the emotional need that I have that this is pointing out to me? Whatever I'm feeling is a cover up. It's the cover of a jar. Inside of that jar is a desire or a need that you have that is not being fulfilled in your life, that's causing you to feel externally the volume of the jar. So what are you feeling internally right now is the need. What emotional need do you have? What is the need that exists right now that's causing you to feel this big thing that you cannot identify or you're struggling with? You know, that kind of glue trap that you seem trying to unstick yourself from and you can't get yourself out of it. What's the need? We have to stop thinking about the feelings that we're feeling when we're doing the morphogenic listening as if it's one feeling. None of it is ever one feeling. They are usually part of there's a main artery and there are all these capillaries and arteries that are feeling it. They are rarely one emotion. And then at the bottom of all of it all is a need. If the issue is survival, ultimately the need is that you want to feel safe. And if you're not feeling safe, then you're going to have XY feeling, loss of control, panic, you know, you're trying to survive, you're trying to control all the details. And within all of your control, you're actually losing control. By the way, I don't know if you, Dr. Stone said this years ago, and he's completely right. Every time someone attacks, whether they're attacking you, attacking something else, or you're attacking something, it's because you've lost control and you're trying to get it back. Attack does not come from a place when you're in charge. It comes only when you lost control. So to what degree, if the issue is control, to what degree are you trying to control? And actually the way the virtue of control works, the higher octave of control, is to surrender everything and all control to your higher power. Think of the need that you have to control. Think of the need that you have to organize everything, to make everything predictable so that you can be safe, and see it in its worst expression. What's the worst thing that can happen if you were to lose control of everything? See it play out in your head. Now take that picture, whatever it looks like, whatever it feels like, and give it over to God and say, I am incapable of controlling all of this. I am incapable of resolving all of this because it's bigger than me. I am weak, I'm human, I am incapable of doing this on my own. Higher power, God, Goddess, help me. Take this cup away from me. Help me. Ask for help. Help me. A lot of times we don't ask for help. We think we can do it on our own. When you get to that point where you realize how big this thing is, ask for your higher power to step in. It is in that exchange with your higher power that the connection to this, the cornucopia of abundant flow will come. Because the moment you release it and you let it go, that's the lack you're releasing. The opposite frequency to create equilibrium will begin to flow toward you. Automatically, the moment you really take a deep breath and you let it go, to the degree you release everything out, instantaneously the opposite frequency will come in. The universe does not like a vacuum. If you completely let it go, the opposite frequency will automatically and instantaneously be dropped into your being. And the healing and the repair that you need will drop in like this. Any questions, any comments? Now remember what I said. Lack of all kinds is coming from what's the saying of Lord Buddha? Life is suffering, but all suffering comes from wrong perception. There's somebody that I'm connected to, kind of loosely on Facebook, a healer. She does more like high-end business, financial coaching, and all that other stuff. And she had a horseback riding accident where she didn't talk about it initially. She waited for all of this to finish for her to conclude to us. For the past 6 months, she's been struggling because she was paralyzed because 4 of her vertebrae had collapsed and were in breakdown. And she would not be able to walk for the rest of her life. And they wanted to do surgery to put 6 screws and 2 pins to help support her spinal cord. And throughout all of this, and they said even after that, they're not sure she's going to walk. She has to do years of rehab to do all of this and so on and so forth. She's in her 30s, relatively young kind of person. But she instinctively went in a different approach. Now she's talking about it. She's past the other, and you would not believe that it's true. She's been posting this thing on Facebook now, even the X-ray showing where the pins are and the screws. So you know it really happened to her. And she's not the kind of person that would lie, actually. And she's posted pictures of her throughout all the various stage videos of whatever, how swollen she was and all the things. And now, after the fact, and she said, after the surgery, in 2 weeks, she walked out of the hospital. And what she did is a version of and this is a powerful version because her thing was not emotional. It was literally her spinal cord that was broken. Okay? She went into the pain that was in her body and she conversed with it. And through the conversation, after the surgery, before the surgery and after the surgery, she kept going into the pain. She did not ignore it. She went right into it. And she knew that she was going to be better. She connected to that source of healing. She's talking about it, and she's talking to a bunch of, or her following is all business people who want to make a lot of money. I guarantee you, and I'm looking in the comments, very few people are commenting because they cannot connect to this. This is too advanced for them. Okay? She's trying to say to them, go into the discomfort and the pain, sit with it instead of trying to cover it up with a happy face or cover it up with something else by distracting yourself. Okay? Yet these people, that's all they've been doing, although she has a process that she used to do to go to the root cause of your poverty consciousness, shift it with a different awareness, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. I didn't realize that she was that deep. I have a different respect for her. because we're not talking about having menstrual cramp or, you know, a temporary thing that happened. This is, when you look at the X-ray, 4 of her vertebrae are being supported by 2 rods and all of these screws. 6 screws, 3 on each side. So you begin to realize that she must have been in excruciating pain. Now all of this is over. And she's now on the other side, a witness to an incredible miracle, because she went deeply into a complete different state of awareness where she began to blend completely with instead of trying to run away, she analyzed it. She did exactly what we're talking about, but she found, and because we're all connected to it anyway. I'm giving you all the step that I'm doing because I've gone through it, etc., and I'm willing to share. She did this on her own. She discovered it's not like I have a copyright on the system. Everyone has access to it. This is the point. And she's trying to tell her community, her circle of influence. I can tell you about the comments that I'm seeing. Very few people are saying, congratulations, I'm so happy for you. But that's the extent. They don't understand what she's talking about. Because we're talking about something, a miraculous transformation that's beyond the scope of what anyone is willing to accept, because we exist in a state of lack that says that this kind of miraculous transformation and change after 2 weeks of surgery, when they told her rehab for at least 2 years, a year to 2 of rehab, of you're not able to walk before you can begin to walk. She walked out in 2 weeks, 14 days. Because she had a different conversation with herself. She didn't believe what they were telling her, and she went internally and she said, I connected with it, I sat with it, I had conversation with it, and all of these emotions came in, and I was able to one by one deal with the feelings, deal with the emotion, and release them and release them. As I released them, all of a sudden the pain shut down, the healing accelerated, and the next thing you know, she's walking out. This is what happened when you connect to the cornucopia of abundant living. It's a powerful example. It's an incredible example. And this woman will never be the same. And I'm telling you, the crowd that she's connected to, which are, again, she was making a lot of money teaching them how to remove poverty consciousness by reprogramming their thinking and doing all of that. They will not be able to understand this. Because the leap in awareness that needs to happen between somebody so-called reconditioning a pain, a physical pain in their body that may be connected to you having, a sprained ankle, to actually having a complete paralyzing experience, to a surgery and to recovery in miraculous time frame. It's too much for them to be able to process. They're looking at her like an oddity, because we're friends on Facebook, and a lot of her posts, when she posted them before, there were all these people that were responding to it. Like, she would get over almost 200 comments. In this instance, it was maybe 20 comments, and again, most people seem to congratulations, and that's it. Because people cannot, they will not be able to process it. I know, for example, and I told her this in the post I put for her, that she will be forever changed by this. Her life will change dramatically. She will never be the same again. Everything in the future for her will be transformed. This is a huge crossroad for her. And for her to try to teach this, she's going to have, her practice will change. It will change completely. It will become something else. Because she will now no longer be interested in giving to people this kind of reprogramming for prosperity only. She will try now to facilitate the same miraculous transformation that happened for her with other people. Study, I'll call you back. I'm in class now, okay? So the same miraculous transformation that she is she's experiencing, she will try to facilitate it with people, and that in itself will become complicated for her to try to do. Any questions, any comments you may have? Again, that experience that she had when I became aware of it, it was what's the word? She became somebody outside of me that became a witness, that gave a testimony to the same principle that I'm teaching. So think about where you are and what you're struggling with. Think about what kind of lack are you in at this moment? What are you disconnected to? Is it your health? Is it some sort of other, your finances? Is it a combination of both? Is it, are you disconnected? And what kind of inner conversation are you having with yourself that's causing, that's perpetuating the lack? What kind of dialogue, inner dialogue are you having that's exacerbating the lack in you?
Pierre?
Yes.
I was just thinking about this, and as far as my inner conversation, I think, I don't know if that's true, but I'm just, reaching to understand. And what stands out for me right now is that there are certain things that are in front of me, like I know I need to do, because I just know they need to be done. Like, I don't know, if I want them to move, obviously I need to pack, right? Just basic stuff that's not out of luck. You just know it needs to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have some expenses, 1 month rent, this or that, so you need to make sure you put that aside. And compare that to like worrying too much, and it's a feeling. It's like you're not, it's almost like you're not in the present. You're not just doing what's in front of you. You're kind of trying to be in the future and worry about it, and it's pointless because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to come. So my impression for now is just to make sure that I focus on and do what's in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to what's gonna, like, move is just an easy example.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm gonna move, this month or that month. Is certainly you have plans. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe I would like to, in general, I would like to move this year, right, as opposed to next year. But that's like enough, you have that goal and that's enough, and there's no need to worry so much about what's gonna be in December, what's gonna be September. You better off just do what's in front of you first.
Mm-hmm.
And get that done, because when that's done, something else will flow, something else will come in.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, like, I know if I'm just focused on what's in front of me, I feel like I'm in good space and I feel aligned. But when I start calculating too much and worry about too much some other details, I feel I'm not, I feel like it's not necessary,
Mhm.
because I'm better off, like, or a job, for example, you know, let's say if you need to update the resume, just what about what you need to do first, right? Update the resume, do what you need to do, and then see where it takes you, because it's almost like, for us, it also seems to be more how about your consciousness, about your state of mind,
Mhm.
as opposed to the materials, because we think like, you know, oh yeah, so I need to do the physical, you know, I need to update my resume, and then I also worry what's gonna be down the road, right?
Mhm.
But I'm getting a sense that that's not how it works. I'm getting a sense that if you just do first what's in front of you,
Yeah.
then something else can show up, something else can come in. It's like, you know, it's like that movie. If you build it, they will come. So maybe more about just do what's in front of you, get it updated, maybe put it out there, and then see what's next shows up.
Yeah, Dr. Stone used to talk about, the Zen masters talk about being present. Dr. Stone talks about what he called involved detachment.
Yeah.
You have an intention, you want certain things. For example, I'm planning a move and I need this to happen. But how the actual, because the future is constantly being rechanged and recalibrated.
Right. Yeah.
So you need to focus on the present and what you can do at the moment, and you need to surrender. This is the same thing is true for enlightenment as well.
Mhm.
It's that thin edge between control and surrender.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
It's a very thin line.
Yeah.
Where there are certain things that you can control. For example, focus on what's in front of you. You have to pack, you have to do all these things. So you start doing this, and then that will lead into the next piece.
Right. And when it's almost like you get that out of the way, then the next piece can fall in.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you know, sometimes worrying too much about other, you know, what we don't even know yet.
Yeah.
So I'm finding that stands out more and more as the more we talk about this kind of awareness stands out for me, as far as more and more as far as the inner conversation, you know. Don't waste time, like, do what's in front of you first, and then see if that's gonna open up something else. Because I might think, oh, you know, and it has to do with consciousness too, because I might think, oh, I updated it and so what. But if you think in terms of consciousness and being connected to the bigger, you know, field, no, it's not just in my head. The field knows, you know. It's like, and I have to know that the field knows.
Yeah.
And when I know that the field knows, you know, things will fall in, things will fall in place. So, I mean, I don't know. That's the only thing that stands out for me right now, that I could do better.
Yeah. Again, you cannot completely control the future.
Yeah.
And again, you have to have that involved detachment, because
Mhm.
the future is constantly being reshaped and recalibrated, particularly now that we're moving to this quickening, where things are moving so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew there was going to be a banking recalibration. I didn't expect it to happen so early in the year. I think I was thinking around October, November, this is when it was going to happen. I didn't expect it to happen, you know, early March.
Well, like you said, it's like it's trying to help us, but it's giving us like a warning sign, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So we have time to prepare
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
there- So that's just for us to.
Again,
If you-
right now, no one has lost any real money. It's just giving you, these are warning shots.
Yeah,
Get yourself together, prepare, do whatever you need financially to prepare for this, because it's coming.
yes,
These are warning shots.
yes.
Yeah,
But you
right.
know, it's there is an article coming out. It just came out that close to 190 banks could face the
Yes.
same fate as Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So this is different. This is different from what we've had before.
Yeah.
This is a different scenario.
Yeah.
Where we have a few big banks, you know, too big to fail.
Yep.
When they got bailed out because they were big, but at the same time, they still own the assets.
Yeah.
And they could do something with it.
Yeah.
You know, now this is different. This is like dominoes falling everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right. We've been expecting this, and it's probably feels like it's gonna probably unfold. Hopefully we'll have a softer landing. And that reminds me also the prayer to Lady Kuan Yin, to go back to that prayer too.
Yeah.
She can help with, you know, softer landing perhaps.
Yes. The Lady of Mercy and Compassion, asking her for help.
Mhm.
Again, praying to your higher power, surrender to whatever that inner conversation may be.
Yeah,
Because without that, you cannot let go of the control. Because if you try to do it on your own, your hands are too short. You will not be able to control it. These hands are
exactly.
too big. They're too big.
Yeah, it's almost like resume being a simple, but good example. You know, I can control who's gonna look at my resume, you know, who's gonna like it, who's not gonna like it. But what I can control is it's to update it, get it done, and put it out there, right?
Mhm.
Make sure it's visible, put it on the websites or what have you. And then once it's out there, you know, there is that possibility that someone might see it. There's a possibility somebody might like it. So it's almost like that. Focus more on my part as opposed to worrying who's gonna see it, who's gonna, you know, who's gonna find it. What about that part, and just worry more about what is my part?
Mhm.
What can I do about it? You know, that I can make it better, that I can put it out there, that I can make it maybe more visible, and that's enough.
Yeah.
And if the quality is there, it's like the rest will follow.
Yeah.
So this is as far as I got from
No. And this is again, it's that
that fine line.
that line, that thin line that exists between what you need to do, what you can control,
Yeah.
what you have to let go. We have to negotiate this constantly about everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a part that's our responsibility, or 50%. There's another part we cannot control. We have to give it over. That will be done.
Yep.
A spiritual being, that's the part we have to negotiate all the time.
Yep. And actually, the more you focus just on your part, the better quality it will be.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Because when things are bigger than you, like, can I stop bank run in the entire world, 190 banks and everything else? I cannot control this. This is too big for me.
Yep. Totally.
I cannot control this. I cannot stop this.
Yep.
And for me to try to stop it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I need for God to give me an immunity protocol from all of that. I need for God to help me find peace and serenity and know what to do with whatever resources I have. And particularly, and you only worry about this when you're in lack, when you think that your resources are going to be stolen away. But if you're in an abundant flow and whatever the environment is outside of the world, you know, for example,
a lot of the animals, except for bears and animals that go hibernation for the winter, all of the other animals, they don't store fat or store food for the winter. They exist, they just feed, they exist, and then they know tomorrow they're gonna eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's perpetually renewal, it's always there. We are constantly worrying about not having. We're constantly plotting, intelligently trying to calculate and measure and trying to figure out, whether we're going to have or have not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that typically takes you into a lack consciousness. Whereas if you, again, as I said, I remember meeting this one person. We're not in touch anymore, but this one person, we were talking about project. I'm going to do this, that, X, the other. Do you have the money? The money is easy, not a problem. The money will come. And the money came. And it was not small money.
Mm-hmm.
It was a couple of million. The money came.
Well, she must have done it before, so it was just
the certainty and the confidence. It was just like the money is easy. It's not a problem.
Yeah. Especially if you've been there before, then you're like
exactly. And I can put testimony to this. I have been helped so many times in so many miraculous way by the blessed field when I was in that state, because the trick, and here's the truth, I am there sometime in that certainty.
Mm-hmm.
Other time I'm disconnected.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. There are days, there are moments, there are weeks where I am so plugged in that certainty, in that cornucopia, that everything in my life becomes an easy flow. Mm-hmm. And miraculously, all kinds of incredible, abundant connection, synchronicities drop into my lap.
Yeah.
And I shared this with you last week, with all of the things that are going on in my life right now, where again, there's lots of lack, lots of uncertainties about this, that, or the other, and so on and so forth, about money. Everybody's worried about money because everything. Yet I had a miraculous grant that dropped into my life out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That blocked, that basically wiped out a financial worry that I had for the past 6 years. Mm-hmm. It wiped it out.
Right. There you go.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
I need to focus on this and be grateful for this and realize that I'm plugged in.
Yeah. Well, I only got second salad bowl for free, but it showed up miraculously.
And again, it doesn't matter how big or small it is.
Yes.
If you become grateful for all of this, as you do this, suddenly it will change everything, because the gratitude. When Dr. Emoto was doing his study on water, the Japanese researcher, and if you say, I hate you to a bottle of water, and he froze the water, and microscopically, the geometry was shattered. If you say, I love you, do you know what was the best and the most powerful geometry? The one that came when a Buddhist monk did the blessing on the water, and gratitude.
Gratitude, yeah. Yeah.
Gratitude.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I didn't mean to. I just going to say it's the same muscle.
Yes.
Once you see it happen, it changes your perspective.
Yeah.
Because you know it's possible.
Yeah.
It's like believing in the impossible because you saw it. So yeah.
And again, when I received an email that told me, I was like, no. I didn't believe it. I called. I'm like, I don't believe it. And they're like, yep, that's what it is. To me, it was the greatest gift ever.
Yeah.
And again, it's the universe. It's Lakshmi again telling me, I am with you.
Mm-hmm.
I have blessed you. Yeah. You call me, I have blessed you.
Right.
And again, it's after I threw the nail clipping.
Yeah, I'm more than, yes. Yeah, I'm cleaning my room. I started already.
Yes, yes. I had to do what I had to do, okay? Because I thought I was being clever because they were not on the floor anymore. They were in a small garbage can, but they were exactly in the corner. They were being stored for days at a time in the very corner where Lashby comes in.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, I removed the garbage can. I removed all of that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, out of the room.
yeah. I mean, you can have it in the room. It's okay, but make sure there are no nail clipping in it. Just make sure that they are thrown in the regular garbage and they're gone. They're not in the apartment.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I have a garbage compactor right outside. It's a few feet away from my door. You know, I put them in a bag and I immediately take to the compactor and throw it out.
Right. Yeah. Well, Georgie knows what he's talking about.
No kidding. No
You
kidding.
better listen to George.
And I'm telling you, again, focus on the gratitude because there's something from as much as you're marinating in whatever emotion you're marinating now, there's a blessing that you're missing that you're not seeing.
Mm.
There's a blessing and you should be grateful for that blessing because that blessing is telling you, follow that path. Trust me.
Mhm.
I've got you. You're not alone. You're not alone.
Thank you, Pierre.
Yeah, you're welcome. I had this incredible experience up in the Catskill. I remember I was so worried one day because I had spent all the money in renovation. I didn't have any more money left, and I didn't have money for the mortgage. And I'm so worried. I'm started crying to Spirit. I'm like, help me, help me. And I literally, from the shoulder, I felt a right hand behind me touching the shoulder and squeezing me tightly when I went into the white space. And I heard this voice said very clearly to me, I don't want to cry because every time I say this, I tend to cry. I have never left you. And I could feel the hand of God touching me, squeezing like gently holding my shoulder and tenderly caressing and holding firmly and saying, I have never left you in that ear. And I bawled out crying. A few days later, in an unexpected manner, the exact amount of money and literally the next day, the exact amount of money for the mortgage show up at the door. Somebody came in and said, here's a gift for you. The exact amount of money that I needed to pay the mortgage.
Oh, I remember there was that woman, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Again, as I said, when I'm connected to that flow, there are moments I'm connected to it. And again, in the most impossible and miraculous way, it just shows up. Because I trust and I surrender it completely.
Right.
And I know that God will support me because God has supported me before.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. In so many ways, we just don't always see it that way.
Yeah.
But for sure.
Any other questions or comments before we take a break? And then we'll do the closing meditation. All right, 5-minute break, and then we'll do the closing meditation. 5 minutes.
Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Let your mind and your heart sync with each other. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And notice what you noticed. Become aware of all of the sensations, perceptions, expansion and knowing that may exist around you. Without judgments, simply notice what you noticed. Become aware of any discomfort, feelings, fears, or lack. that may exist in you. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And notice what you noticed. Blend your awareness completely with this discomfort. And listen. Listen as if the more than 50 trillion cells in your body had ears. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. What am I feeling? Is this coming from me? Or is it coming from the outside? Is this one feeling? Or a combination of multiple feelings? What is the first feeling? The second feeling? Are there any other feelings? What is the need that is creating this feeling? I surrender this entire false belief in lack and fear into my higher power and the blessed fear. I connect to the energy of abundant flow and abundant living. I release all lack, all fears, all limitations into infinity times infinity. I am not capable on my own cognizance to do this alone. Help me. I am abundantly, as of right, connected to perpetual renewal, healing, repairs, prosperity, health, joy, and abundant living. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, open your eyes.
Thank you, Pierre. I'd like to linger there, but I know the class has to end. So just want to thank you for the seeds that have been planted.
Oh, you're welcome, Janice. You're more than welcome. I deeply appreciate all of you for listening to me and hoping that we make this space a permanent residence. Because I know I stepped into it sometime and I dropped out all the time. And there's so many distractions coming and that will come for the rest of the year to bring us back into misalignment, and we need to double our effort to remain in that space. I want to thank you all for listening to me tonight. If you're listening to us on Patreon, thank you for your support. All of you on YouTube, like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. And I look forward to talking to you next week. Thank you, everyone, and good night. Thanks.
Good night. Good night.
Blessings to all of you.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.